The Excel gift import feature is an optional and often faster method for creating gift records in Denari. It allows you to enter the gift information into a spreadsheet and then upload that spreadsheet to Denari. The process creates a batch and gift records. Some users find this method faster because they can copy down codes that are common among the gifts in the batch and work through a spreadsheet more quickly than the Denari gift form. It works best when you're using some type of bounce back form that the donor sends with their gift that includes their account number and possibly the fund and appeal code that generated the gift. There are 3 models available for the import process. Let's go to the Admin tab and then Company Information. Here we see the Gift Import Model field, and when we click the drop down we find that we have 3 options: Default Fund from Donor Jurisdiction, Default Fund from Appeal Campaign, and General Model with no defaults. We'll start with the General Model because it's the simplest and most popular method, and we'll discuss the first 2 later in this session. To begin, let's go to the Gifts tab and then Excel Gift Import. When we click the Import XLS Documentation link, we'll get a spreadsheet that looks something like this. Each browser type handles this link a little bit differently, but you should be able to see the sample in all of them. Let's jump down to the 3rd option that shows us the required fields for the general model. We see that there are the 5 fields, and they're required in our spreadsheet. They're account, amount, appeal, fund, and letter. Those 5 field names must be in the first row of our spreadsheet and must be typed exactly as you see them here. The other fields you see here are optional fields that can be used if you need them. They can be entered in any order. After row 1 is set up with the fields you'll be using, begin entering data by moving to row 2. Enter the donor's account number and the amount. You don't need a $sign, and if the amount is an even number, you don't need decimals. If the amount is $10, for example, just enter the number 10. You'll enter codes in the letter, appeal, and fund fields, and that goes for any of the optional fields that involve records that are already set up in Denari. Each letter record, appeal code record, and fund code record have both a description field and a code field. The code is the identifier for Denari, so that's what you need to use here, not the description, so you may need to look those up ahead of time. A quick note here: if you want to use a new fund code, appeal code, etc. for your gifts, you'll need to set that code record up ahead of time before you upload your spreadsheet. Denari will not create a new code on the fly. Now we can move to row 3 and continue to enter data. As mentioned earlier, one speed advantage here is that if many of the gifts in the batch have the same appeal code, fund code, or letter, you can simply copy that down to all of the fields in the spreadsheet to make data entry much faster. Once our spreadsheet is complete, save it to your computer, giving it any name you would like. To upload the spreadsheet, we're going to go back to our original page, and we'll click the Upload Excel Spreadsheet link here on the right. Now we can browse for our file. I'll click OK or Open. And now when we click the Upload File button, we see that the file name is now in our spreadsheet and ready to be uploaded. So we just click on the Import Spreadsheet Gifts, and Denari will then complete the process. If everything has been entered correctly, Denari will create a new batch with today's date and a gift record for all the gifts in your spreadsheet. Denari will also give you a summary of the upload in your inbox. You'll need to review and then close the batch. It's a good idea to test this the first time you attempt to upload gifts with a spreadsheet with only a couple of gifts. It's much easier to delete 2 gifts than 200. If a gift you are entering is a split gift, you can enter the splits each on their own row using the same donor account number for both. Denari will recognize the duplicate account number and will set up one gift with multiple splits. There are 2 fields that need a little explanation: charitable and pledge. Denari assumes that all gifts being uploaded are charitable and that they will be credited to an open pledge. So to break that assumption, you'll need to put an X in the charitable or the pledge fields. When Denari sees the X in the charitable field, it will make the gift non-charitable. When it sees the X in the pledge field, it will not link that gift to a pledge. If there's no X in the pledge field, Denari will find the first open pledge for that donor and link the gift to that. If there are multiple open pledges, you will need to enter that gift manually to be sure it's linked to the correct pledge. Now let's discuss the first two models we saw earlier, the default from jurisdiction and default from appeal campaign. Both allow you to have fewer required fields in the spreadsheet because Denari will pull needed information for the gift record from another source. Let's look at the jurisdiction model first. We see that we have two required fields, account and amount. To set that up, we'll go to the jurisdiction record. So we go to the Donors tab and then down to Jurisdiction. And we'll select one at random. Here we see the appeal and fund code fields in the record. The only two fields required in the spreadsheet for this model, as I said, are account and amount. So for this to work, you'll have to have a jurisdiction assigned to all of your donors. During the import process, Denari will find the donor based on the account number in the spreadsheet. It will take the jurisdiction from that donor record and then pull the fund and appeal code from this jurisdiction record to use in the gift record. It will pull the letter from the default letter that you previously set up in Company Preferences. All of the other optional fields work in the same way as in the general model we looked at earlier. Now, back in the appeal campaign mode, we see that we have three required fields, the account, the amount, and the appeal. So let's go to a campaign code. We'll go to the Gifts tab and then Campaigns. And we'll just select one at random. Here we see a field for fund code, and we'll need to select one here if we use this model. During the upload process, Denari will identify the appeal code from the spreadsheet and look to see which campaign that appeal is linked to. It will then look at the campaign record here to find the fund code and use that in the gift record. Here you can also select a letter in the campaign record to be used for the gift. These last two methods can save you some data entry time, but it is important that the setup work be done carefully for them to work. As mentioned earlier, the general model is a little more direct and straightforward, so you'll need to decide what will work best for you. If you have any questions about this topic, please contact our tech support office by clicking on the support button at the top of the Denari page.